Hola, compañeros. Estoy aquí en nuestra clase. Es un poco un desorden, kind of a mess. I'm in the process of getting everything out of here for summer cleaning. Pero aquí, this is the story today. You may remember that in the very top of the whiteboard, I have our question words. ¿Quién? ¿Qué? ¿Cuándo? ¿Dónde? ¿Por qué? ¿Cómo? ¿Cuánto o cuántos? See? The visual cues on these may or may not help you a ton, but remember they do go in the order of who, what, when, where, why, how, and how many. See? If you remember seeing those every day in clase, maybe you started to already ask yourself, what do those mean? And remember, we know what several of them do mean already. For example, ¿cuál es tu comida favorita? What is your favorite food? ¿Cuándo tienes la clase de matemática? O ¿cuándo es tu cumpleaños? ¿De dónde eres? O ¿dónde vive tu tío? ¿Sí? ¿Cómo estás? O ¿cómo te llamas? ¿Sí? ¿Cuántos años tienes? Or ¿cuántos hermanos tienes? ¿Sí? Not how old are you, but how many years do you have? Or, for example, how many siblings do you have? ¿Cuántos hermanos tienes? ¿Sí? So in today's lesson, we are going to be looking at those question words, solidifying what do they mean, and more importantly, how do we use them to ask open-ended questions, okay? These are questions that need a complete sentence response. These are not yes or no questions. Those are what we call closed questions, and those are really easy to ask. For example, a closed question could just be caminas with the question mark. Are you walking? See? Caminas, period, you are walking. Caminas with upside down question mark and regular question mark at the end. Do you walk or are you walking? Remember, closed questions are real easy. You just need the upside down question mark and the regular question mark. But open-ended questions are a little bit more complex. So that is what we're going to be looking at today. Otra vez, las palabras de pregunta van quién o quiénes. In Spanish, you can make question words plural. So if the subject is, who is your friend, as opposed to who are your friends, ¿quiénes son tus amigos? Or simply, ¿quién es tu amigo? Who is your friend? Who are your friends? ¿Quiénes son tus amigos? ¿Sí? ¿Qué o cuál, they both kind of mean what. Cuál can also mean which. ¿Sí? ¿Cuándo? When. ¿Dónde? Where. ¿Por qué? Why? ¿Cómo? How? ¿Cuánto o cuántos? How much or how many? Entonces, ¿quién? ¿Qué? ¿Cuándo? ¿Dónde? ¿Por qué? ¿Cómo? ¿Cuánto o cuántos? ¿Sí? ¿Quién o quiénes? Who? ¿Qué o cuál? What o which? ¿Cuándo? When? ¿Dónde? Where? ¿Por qué? Why? ¿Cómo? How? ¿Cuánto o cuántos? How much or how many? ¿Sí? So, of course, one of the things I miss most about being in class, apart from seeing your lovely faces, is singing to you with my guitarra. So let's try to sing about the palabras de preguntas. ¿Quién, qué, cuándo, dónde, por qué, cómo, cuánto, cuántos? ¿Quién, qué, cuándo, dónde, por qué, cómo, cuánto, cuántos? Enough of that for now. You'll notice there are kind of some other question words down here that are essentially the same question words but used with prepositions down here. I'm only going to say a real brief version of this. Basically, in Spanish, it sounds really, really awkward to end a sentence with a preposition. You just never do it. It would actually take away the meaning from the sentence if you ended your question with the preposition. If you ended a sentence, for example, with the word con. Here's an example. In English, we like to say things like, who are you going to the movies with? Right? We take the word with and we like to put it at the very end of the question. You can never do that in Spanish. If you do that in Spanish, it sounds really, really bizarre. ¿Quién vas al cine con? No. You would never say it like that. You would only say con quién vas al cine. Okay? And technically speaking, if you were to speak in English in a correct fashion, you would also begin that sentence with the word with. You would say, with whom are you going to the movies? And that would be correct grammatically. But we always like to speak in kind of our own regional or a way that is less correct grammatically but more acceptable socially. If you were to ask one of your good friends, with whom are you going to the movies on Friday? They would be like, are you asking me or are you quoting Shakespeare? Right? Because that's just how we speak conversationally, is a lot of times in an incorrect way. See? But remember, in Spanish, if you're going to use a preposition like con, meaning with, that needs to go at the beginning of the sentence. Con quién vas al cine? With whom are you going to the movie theater? Another one, de, meaning from or where. De donde eres? From where are you? Okay? In English, we like to ask, where are you from? And technically that is grammatically incorrect, although conversationally it's very acceptable to speak like that. But if you were to say that correctly in English, you would actually want to ask, from where are you? Just like in Spanish, de donde eres? From, de, donde, where, eres, are you? Bien. Con quién, with whom, a quién, to whom, a donde, to where, de donde, from where. These are just a couple examples of prepositions that can go with these question words. There are many other cases I could cite, but these are a couple of the basic. Okay, so I am going to ask some questions, and let's see if you can figure out what I am asking. I will be using those question words. Número uno. ¿Dónde comes tú? ¿Dónde comes tú? Número dos. ¿Cuándo duermes tú? ¿Cuándo duermes tú? Otra. ¿Por qué estudias español tú? ¿Por qué estudias español tú? So, hopefully you came up with donde means where. You remember comer means to eat, and we're in the to form. Comes. Donde comes? Where do you eat? Remember, the word do is already implied in the question marks. Okay? Número dos. ¿Cuándo duermes? Cuando, when. Dormir, to sleep. The to form of dormir, duermes. When do you sleep? Remember, the question marks take the place of the word do that we use in English. Número tres. ¿Por qué estudias español tú? ¿Por qué? Why? Estudias, coming from estudiar, to study, but in the to form, you study. Why Do you study español? Why do you study Spanish? Do. Remember, the word do, again, is implied in those question marks. Excelente. So when we are forming open-ended questions in Spanish, there is kind of a word order that we are going to work with here. So we're going to start with our question word, our who, what, when, where, why, how, and how many. Okay, and then after that, we are going to work with a verb in the to form. Of course, there are questions you can ask about people in the third person, okay, and the first person plural, right? You don't just have to ask questions in the to form, but that is how we are going to learn about questions in Spanish, in the to form. And what I mean about the to form is we are going to conjugate our verb here in the to form, meaning the you form. We're going to ask questions to another person directly. Remember, if it's an AR verb, the to form is going to get an AS on it, like we saw with ¿Por qué estudias español? See? And if it's an ER or IR verb, your to form is going to end with an ES, like comer, ¿qué comes? Or dormir, cuando duermes, see? So again, it's a pretty simple sentence structure. All we are going to do is use our question word, our who, what, when, where, why, how many, quién, qué, cuándo, dónde, por qué, cómo, cuántos, and then a verb in the to form. You get to pick whichever verb you want. We have a lot of verbs that we've studied in Spanish: bailar, caminar, comprar, trabajar, correr, comer, beber, dormir, nadar, viajar, escribir, ¿sí? Mirar o ver la televisión. We have a lot of different verbs that we have learned in Spanish class, and yesterday in the Zoom meeting, I prompted you to have out your pink sheet from Unit 3 that has like 25 to 30 different verbs on it, okay? So using this sentence structure, question word plus verb in the to form, we are going to work on inventing our own questions in Edpuzzle today. That's going to be your final assignment, is to create some of your own. I am going to show you a few more examples. The word who, quién, but I'm using the preposition with whom, or in English, who with, sometimes we might say. So, ¿con quién vas al cine? With whom are you going to the movie theater? ¿Qué? What? ¿Qué programas ves en la televisión? What programs do you watch on TV? ¿Cuándo? When? ¿Cuándo duermes tú? When do you sleep? ¿Dónde? Where? ¿Dónde comes tú? Where do you eat? ¿Por qué? Why? ¿Por qué estudias español tú? Why do you study Spanish? ¿Cómo? How? ¿Cómo escribes tu nombre? How do you spell your name? Or how do you write your name? Y número 5, ¿cuántos? In this case, how many? Remember, ¿cuánto? How much? ¿Cuántos? How many? ¿Cuántos hermanos tienes? How many siblings do you have, or how many brothers do you have? See? So I use the question words in order: who, what, when, where, why, how, and how many. Okay? I want you to pick 3 question words. You pick 3 in total, and I want you to write a total of 3 questions using 3 different question words. And remember, you can use here on the bottom con quién, a quién, a dónde, de dónde. But I want you to pick 3 of these, and in Edpuzzle write 3 different questions using 3 different question words in this structure: question word plus a verb in the to form. Okay? Again, we know a lot of verbs in español. Tocar, jugar, mirar, ver, beber, comer, hablar, viajar, bailar, nadar, comprar, trabajar, comer, correr, caminar. See, ir, we just studied ir, voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van. So I want you to pick 3 question words and write me 3 different questions using the sentence structure question word plus verb in the to form. ¿Sí? Y es todo para hoy. Gracias, compañeros.